Hey guys, Wolfie here. This is all eyes on Gladiolus for the City of Final Fantasy Opera Omnia Global. This is the 26th or 27th of November 2020. So, for those of you who are aware of the eyes on, this is a more in-depth video for characters who are highly sought after in the game. And as per usual with this series, I'm going to be going over some of the pros and cons that each character has. And I will be referring to information from the Time Variant Troop and the Dissidia database website. So the links related to both will be in the description below. As always, the usual disclaimer: any opinion in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. So with this particular video, we do know a few things. First and foremost, Gladio does not have his ED Awakening or his LD board extension on JP as of yet, but he's slated to get one in early December. Now, another thing to keep note of is that, again, the timing of his global debut is close to certain other characters in the sense of LD and burst weapons and various other things that could be of more value. So with that, for this particular video, I will be going over the information for the LD weapon and the EX weapon in more detail, so that way you guys can have a better idea of what to expect for here. So with that bit all out of the way, like I say, any opinion in this video, repeat the disclaimer, is mine and mine alone, and I will meet you all at the home screen. Okay, so I am back. So we're going to be going over first for the first in this video, the LD and EX weapons in more detail. So we are going to be jumping into the banner that the LD and EX weapon is tied into. So we're going to jump right into this real quickly. So this is the LD weapon for Gladio. It's called Blade of Brennair. I think that's how you pronounce it. And the LD ability for this particular weapon is called Impulse. So basically, this is what happens when in its base form before the UMLB it, that sort of thing. So it has the information as you see here. Now, this does introduce an enframed debuff as well as a new enframed buff. The enframed buff is called Blink. The debuff is Knockdown. Now, Knockdown, this particular debuff, it lowers attack and defense. So, when it comes to characters, you know, they have like means to reduce certain stats through other means. This is a really one of the better ones in my personal opinion. So we have here 1 out of 3, 2 out of 3, and 3 out of 3. This is a focus on Gladio's attack stat. And the duration of knockdown goes to 8 turns from 4 when you get it 2 out of 3. So that is that on the LD weapon. Now we'll just jump right into the EX weapon. Now the ability name is called Maelstrom. And the weapon name is called Force Stealer. Now, this is the information you see here when this is pre-realization. So, it has here another enframed buff called Warrior's Trial. And you have here the 1 out of 3, 2 out of 3, and 3 out of 3 pre-realization. Now, when it comes down to the Warrior's Trial pre-realization, when you get a 2 out of 3, the duration of Warrior's Trial goes to 8 turns from 4. Now we're going to go into the post-realization info. I don't know why my phone did that. So you have here the information as follows. 0 out of 3 post-realization. Now, this is where Maelstrom gets the AoE splash damage, meaning that the cumulative HP damage to non-targets is on the last HP attack. At this point, 1 out of 3 is a moderate raise to max bravery and attack. 2 out of 3, you have the information you see here. At the start of the quest, all this good stuff right here. And the thing here is that at 2 out of 3 post-realization, first turn does not consume, use count, excluding the LD. 3 out of 3 post-realization is the information you see here. This is where Gladio gets his HP attack plus as well as Brave attack plus. Now the sphere that it comes with is a beast sphere known as HP damage raging attack all. When taking HP damage, raises party's attack by 2% up to 5 times once per turn. Does not attack with the same sphere. So we're going to jump back into the event itself and do a quick recap of skill 1, skill 2, and the additional ability. So, where is the command ability details? Here we go. This is Tempest. And again, this is Dawnhammer, skill 2. This is the Tempest extension info. And we also have the Dawnhammer extension info. This is the additional ability, HP heal and boost all. The boost all is to the max bravery for the team. And this is the level 70 crystal extension right here. So now, what are the pros and what are the cons of Gladiolus? Now, one of the things here is that, and I've seen some degree of footage across social media, he is one of those rare 70/70 units who is still being used to this day because of what he can do, not only for himself, but for the entire party, and that says a lot for him being a highly sought-after character. This is the same thing with Kais or Keys, however you pronounce his name. Now, fortunately for Gladio, he debuts with his LD. And again, with what he can do at 70/70, he is still very useful. However, he has the same problem as units like Noctis. And the one of the biggest problems I've noticed right out of the gate is that he is one of the more expensive characters to invest in, meaning that you need to have all of the weapon passes for Gladio to be at his best. Meaning that you not only need the passive from the 15, but also the passive from the 35. The EX weapon being fully realized, 3 out of 3 and maxed out, and the passive from the LD weapon. You need to have all of those. And the additional ability he has, that's highly recommended to fully develop as well. He's one of the more expensive units to invest in. And without him, being fully kitted up, geared up, he's not going to perform as well as people would think. And it's really sad. Now, another thing here is that yes, he does counter whenever he is hit. So, some people refer to him as Gallup 2.0. Because certain things that Gallup does, Gladio can also do. Now, the thing here that separates Gladio and Gallup is that Gallup has the means to evade. Gladio does not. But it really depends on how you develop each of the characters. And people think, Gladio is like the do all and be all, which is a good pro, but it's also a con because Gladio should not be your only tank. It's like, when it comes to the tanks, it's like, you should have invested in at least 2 or 3. And Gladio simply just cannot suffice in certain situations. And another thing here is I saw this on a comment on a Facebook post that at some point Gladio will get outclassed. The 2 units who will eventually outclass him at some point are characters who have been in the game for quite some time. The first unit, I kind of mentioned, the name because he is... Hold on a second. Okay, so I had to pause the video really quickly there. So, the first unit who eventually outdoes Gladio is actually Gallup. Because Gallup does have an 80/80 awakening coming to globals in the future. He also has an LD. Basically, what Gallup does when that comes, he has his own way of outdoing Gladio in that regard. Because again, Gladio cannot evade, Gallup can. So it's one of those things, it's like, this is one of those reasons why Gladio should not be your lone tank to invest in. And this is not just the whole thing with Gladio, he can counter, but he cannot evade. So Galuf, he does have the means to outdo Gladio in time. And again, certain things, certain people can do, no one else can. But unfortunately, that's down that. Now, another unit who will eventually outdo Gladio, and for those of you who know me quite well, it is the person I refer to as my waifu. Now, some people's waifu is Yuna, but my personal waifu is none other than Celeste Scherer. The reason why Celeste will have the means to outdo Gladio in the future is because of how she counters. She doesn't have the means to counter like Gladio does, like, goes straight to the target, but all that stuff. But she has the LD that gives her the means to counter, quote unquote. She also has means to heal the entire party. And with her second rework in coming to the global in the future, she has a better variety of provoking, and a bit of a sustainable way to counter, meaning that the opponent hits somebody or anybody, and her counter goes off. It's kind of like, the trap that Emperor has, but Celeste has it. Celeste, in her second rework, also has means to resist some melee and range damage, which gives her an overall, her sustainability in fights is far improved. It is Celeste's second rework, and what Galuf gets with his 80/80 Awakening and his LD is reasons why those two will eventually be outdoing Gladio. But it doesn't mean that those two should be the do-all and be-all either. So, something to keep in mind. So, and the thing is with Gladio, unlike Celeste and Galuf, he does not have his 80/80 Awakening or the LD extension to their character boards as of yet. We don't even know if Gladio is getting a rework. But the thing is like, it's a bit of a wait and see from the report that's coming out in the next couple of days. So to do a quick recap for Gladio, some of the pros is that he can counter like nobody's business. The stuff that he can do is flat out amazing. He has the ways to work around certain obstacles, if you will. But the thing is that some of the biggest cons he has is the following. He needs to be fully kitted up, especially on the offense, to be at his best. The same problem Noctis has. And with Celeste's secondary rework alongside her LD, alongside Galuf's LD and their 80/80 Awakenings, they provide means of outdoing Gladio, so Gladio should not be the do-all and be-all for your tank. I had to do another pause here because I'm not so sure what's up with my phone settings, but like I said, Gladio should not be your do-all and be-all. Because, again, you got Celeste and Galuf. They're going to be outdoing him in the future. And the fact that he's also has the same problem as Noctis. And by that, it's an expensive unit to invest in. So it's one of those, it's like, you got to be careful because there are other units coming along in the future where they are probably more worth it in their own right. Lightning, with her LD and Burst coming along soon on Global. You have Sephiroth and Cloud. You have Squall's 80/80 Awakening coming along. It's like a bunch of, pretty much all of that. So, I'm actually done with this video for right now. And before I sign off, I will say, though, that this will not be posted until tomorrow. So that way I can enjoy whatever is left of my Thanksgiving. So, with that, I am done. With Wolvie here, signing off. I will catch you all on the flip side.